Hello again, this is Mark Summers from Summers Technical Services. We're going to do a SOLIDWORKS CAD tutorial. It's going to be, end result's going to be a waveguide assembly. We're going to have several parts. We're going to first start off with building 3 SOLIDWORKS part models, a waveguide, waveguide flange, and a little alignment pin. Then we're going to make an assembly model using those 3 parts. And then we're going to go back and turn a good model into a great model by turning the 2 of the part models, the waveguide and the flange, into parametric configuration models of multiple sizes of waveguides. And then we're going to do a similar thing on the assembly model, turn it into a great model that allows configurations with different assembly configurations. And we're going to be doing this using global variables with the parameters in the parts and design tables in both the parts and the assembly model. So let's get started. Alright, so we'll start a new part model here in SOLIDWORKS if it cooperates. Use the inch template. File new. There's our inch template. And we're going to make a sweep feature which uses 2 sketches. We're going to have a sketch of the path that the waveguide follows, and we're going to have a second sketch of the shape of the waveguide, the rectangular shape of the waveguide. We'll use both of those features to create a part model, whereas most extrusions and revolves require 1 sketch. This particular feature requires 2 sketches, one for the path and one for the shape. So we're going to create a 3D sketch because the sketch plane that our path of our waveguide follows is not in a 2D plane, it's in a 3D plane. And so we're going to go to sketch. We're going to select the top plane. Most of the sketch is going to live in the top plane for the path. And instead of using sketch, we're going to use a pull down, and we're going to do a 3D sketch. So these are a little more complicated because you got 3 directions to move in, so you have to be a little bit more careful laying this out. So I want to start with a line, and we're going to start at the origin. And you get this red coordinate system that you're sketching in, and you can toggle this by hitting the tab button. It'll toggle between the X, Y, YZ, ZX planes. And right now it's in the XZ plane, which is where I want to sketch. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time making sure these dimensions are close to the actual drawing that I gave you in class. So there's a perpendicular line. This is going to go over this way. About that far. Looking for my indicator, there's a horizontal line there. It's going to come back this way a little past that, and there's an indication. Go this way a little bit, still in the XZ plane. As soon as this thing comes back to life here. And now I need to kick up out of the plane, so I want to hit my tab button. You'll notice those red coordinate system. That's toggling to the YZ plane. That's toggling to the XY plane. So every time I hit the tab, it toggles to a new plane. And I want to stop it when it gets right there. That's in the XY plane. And I want to click over here somewhere. Right-click select to get out of the command. And now I have my 3D sketch. It's flat in the top plane. Right up until this point it kicks up out of the plane. So now I'm going to put some fillets on here because our path didn't follow those sharp corners. It does these fillets, and so I'm not sure what the dimensions are yet, so I'll just type in 0.5 even though that's the wrong number. So there's one fillet, there's another one, there's another one, and there's the last one. And what I'll do is approve that. And I'm actually going to get rid of this dimension because I know that's going to change. Get out of that command. Although I do know that this fillet and this fillet and this fillet are all the same size. So I'll go ahead and make those equal. Alright, when you're doing a 3D sketch, you've got to control what you're doing in the third direction, in the Z direction. Normally we don't have to worry about that because Z is 0 everywhere in the 2D sketch plane, but not so much in a 3D sketch plane. So I'm going to grab these first entities and I'm going to add relations, 3D sketch constraints that I haven't seen before. Now that I'm doing 3D sketch, I've got these three options. And so that line is only supposed to go in the Z direction. I don't want it to deviate in the X or Y directions. So I select that line and I say along Z and then say OK. And I'll do the same thing for this line, except I want that to be along X. And this one is going to be again along Z. And you can see it's guessing. It makes it bold, the one it thinks I want, and it's usually guesses right, sometimes not. And then that line right there needs to be along X. Alright, so now those are behaved. This one I can't make along X or along Y or along Z because it's going in both the X direction and the Y direction. So I got to handle that one differently. So now I want to put some dimensions on here. I want to go from here to here. And that is, according to my drawing, I'll look at that dimension. And then I got a dimension going from here to here. And these are all in the top plane, so I don't have to worry about Z direction. I'm not even sure what these dimensions are. I guess I should look at the drawing. I think that's 585. There you go. And then now, get out of that command. And now I'm going to fix this little guy. This thing's gone cattywampus on me. So you have to be careful with your dimensions. Sometimes you cause your sketch to go cattywampus. Alright, so that looks reasonable. Now you'll notice, if I look down from the top, this line right here, this edge where it's kicking up at the very end, this thing is not controlled in the Z direction. I want this thing to stay in the X, Y plane. And the way I can do that is by selecting this line, control clicking the front plane. If I can find it. Where's my tree? There's my front plane. Control click this line. And I want these to stay parallel to one another. And so if I do that, now that line cannot kick out of that plane. That line is parallel with the front plane. That's what I want. So now maybe I'll add some more dimensions. So here down, oops, that's not what I wanted. I want this point down to this line. These are all in the same plane. That needs to be 0.5. And then I got a 30-degree angle. These are all in the same plane, so I don't have to worry about kicking out of the plane. But now I need to add this 665 dimension. And if I dimension from this line to this point, it's going to give me a straight line dimension. That's not what I want. I want to go perpendicular. I want an orthogonal dimension. And so what I want to do is I want to dimension from this line not to the point, but to the front plane. Now that dimension is going perpendicular to that front plane, which is what I want. So you have to be careful of what you dimension to. Dimensioning to points is going to be problematic. Just like if I dimension this point, if I can find it, that point to this point is not the dimension I want, because that's going to give me a straight line dimension, and that's changing in the Z direction. I want to go perpendicular to the right plane. So dimension from that point to the right plane. Now that's what I'm looking for. And that's my overall dimension. Now I just need these, if I got all the dimensions on there, I think so. I think all I need now are these fillet dimensions, and we'll talk about those in class. And so I'll call that good for now. So I'm going to get out of the sketch. We'll eventually have to make that fully defined. So 3D sketch is a little bit more tricky than 2D sketches, but now we know how to handle that. Sometimes you have to hit that button over there. All right, now we need a second sketch. We need a shape for this shape, and I strategically started the path sketch at the origin, and so now I can select this front plane and just do a 2D sketch because the shape of the waveguide is in that plane. And so I'm going to do, yours is different. I'm going to do a WR34. So I need a couple of rectangles. I need one for the outside shape and one for the inside shape. I want to make sure I don't click on that line there because these are going to have different aspect ratios. And so now I want to add some dimension. So this overall dimension here for WR34 is 1/2 inch. And this guy here is something else. It is 42. And then I got this guy here. Just reading these off the data sheet. That one looks to be 34. And I get one more here if I've done these right. Hopefully I have. That one's going to be 170. Nope. Yeah, 170. Come on, come on, come on. All right, so now I have two sketches. Why does that look screwy? What am I doing wrong here? 340, 170. A and C, 340, 420. Whoops, this is 420. $340 and 420, 170 and 250. All right, you have to be able to read numbers. That looks more reasonable. So get out of that sketch. Now I've got two separate sketches. And now all I do is select the path, control click the shape, go to feature, go to swept boss base, and boom, I got my part. So we're done. So other than adding my fillets for the path radii on my 3D sketch, I got to fix that, but we'll do that in class. All right, so we got part one done. Let's go finish this up. Or we're finished with this one. Need to add the material still. Don't forget to do that or you'll lose 5 points. So we're done with this one, and now let's move on to the flange part. So see you shortly.